What up, though, and welcome back to the World That Waits live on WorldSports.com. I'm Easy. I spin more racks.
What up, though?
We had Uncle Pete, we had Uncle Nick, and now we're joined by a special guest, host of all 22 films, all 22 NFL films.
Yes.
Coach DC. Hey, native Baltimore Ravens fan, new Detroit Lions fan, because, hey, he recognizes ball. What up, Coach?
Hey, man, how you guys doing? Thanks for having me on, Easy. I appreciate it, and I'm sorry for skipping out on you for so many weeks. How many times you asked me? So thanks again.
No, man, I appreciate taking the time to come on, man. You've kind of been going viral lately with the Detroit Lions signings, which means everybody else kind of going crazy over it. Some of them have been a little bit polarizing, but you actually break down the film. You coach the game yourself. Out of this free agency class for the Detroit Lions, which one of these signings has been your favorite by far?
Well, my favorite would have been the first corner, but a trade, obviously. Because it was the first domino that fell. But I think maybe from the messages I've sent you, or maybe if you watched the video, I'm not even sure that most Lions fans understand how potentially dominant DJ Reader is against the run. Not as a pass rusher, but it's almost like trying to block 1.5 guys. He's so agile, and I can only speak on him because I've watched him play the Ravens so many times. So from a film study standpoint, it would be DJ Reader. But from a personal standpoint of rooting for the Lions, it's the corners. I mean, that was a position of absolute need. No disrespect to the guys that played there, throughout 2023. And look, they almost got the job done with them, right? I mean, you're a quarter and a half away from playing the Super Bowl with the guys you had, and now it's a very vastly improved secondary already, even before the draft. So from a personal standpoint, it's the corners, and from a film study standpoint, it's DJ Reader, because now I get to root for him instead of rooting against him like I did, for the last 3 years.
Coach DC, we appreciate you joining us, man. All 22, it's just such an awesome way to view these tapes and to view these plays, because you get to see everything. And Easy said you're a Baltimore fan, and one of your guys, your Pro Bowl guard, is now a Detroit Lion. Yeah. Obviously, the Lions have one of the most complex run schemes in the NFL, and they use their guards a lot in pulling and wham blocks and different things like that. How is Kevin Zeitler gonna fill into that role in the Ben Johnson run scheme?
Man, he's going to be playing next to Sewell. That's insane. Morgan Moses for the Ravens, good player. We signed him on a veteran deal a couple of years ago, I think, out of Washington. And then we just traded him back to the Jets. But Zeitler and Sewell playing next to each other, I'm thinking of two concepts where they pull Sewell a lot. They pull him often to the other side of the formation. You don't have to do that now all the time. You can run the same play, the same concept, and pull Zeitler. He's athletic. He's tough. He's very smart. I suspect that he played injured for 3 or 4 weeks in 2022. And that was the only time I've ever really seen him have any difficulty with pass pro. I forget who it was. It's a Lions content creator. I saw him or something on Twitter about his pass pro statistics, and they're great. Zeitler's are great. But within that, I remembered the only time he really struggled was when I suspected he was playing with an injury. I think he 33, 34?
34.
Mm-hmm.
The Colts game?
34, so I guess 33 or 34 years old, so I think some would say, he's a little old, but you guys signed him to a 1-year deal, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you can still draft a guard this year that doesn't absolutely have to start right off the bat. I think it's a great signing. I'm sure some people would say it's the best signing they've made. I think they've been hitting home runs. I understand Lions fans maybe get a little more argumentative about the particular players, but I think they've addressed so many needs. How do you guys feel about it? I feel like it's a complete free agency.
I love it because now the draft board is his to manipulate.
Do whatever you want.
Whether he wants to trade back, he has that option. If he wants to move up, he has that option. It's not – and he was never the guy to force an issue just because of his position of need anyway. That's kind of how Jahmyr Gibbs happened, right? But, no, now the guy who's been phenomenal at drafting the past 3 years, he can do whatever he wants. He's not forced to go
100%
for whatever position because we're in a contending window. So I think Brad Holmes is a masterclass of an offseason. I wanted to ask about the guy you spoke about first that got you excited, and the guy that got me excited too is Carlton Davis Jr. He's kind of been polarizing here because a lot of people don't really see him as a true CB1. What have been your takeaways of him on film, and what should Detroit Lions fans expect from him?
On some level, maybe somebody like myself or you guys perhaps, if you have a long memory, you remember a player playing well for years, and when you see them in 2023 or 2024, maybe you're still thinking of the guy you saw in 2020 or 2019. He's been a good player for a while, right? I don't think the film shows a guy, at least the games I watched, I think I had 7 games. I didn't see a guy who looked bad in zone. You may or may not know this, and so forgive me if anyone on your channel or on you guys' show is a co-signer of it. I don't give a shit about PFF. I don't. I watch the film, and there's some error allowance for what I do too. I only watch 7 games, so there's 2 or 3 games. Apparently, he gave up a touchdown to one of the players in your division. I think the rookie from Minnesota, the rookie wide receiver Addison. So I didn't see that game. I didn't have that game. I didn't see that game. So it's whatever. So there's some error allowance in what I do too, just by watching the film. But I don't personally feel like you have to go by just a number or just the film study or just some other method of judging players. I feel like if you're a true fan, you're going to use as many methods as possible. And that certainly doesn't have to be me. It can be someone else. I think Carlton Davis is a good player, guys.
Let's go.
Bottom line.
We added another cornerback in the free agent market as well, a guy in Amik Robertson who kind of was forced onto the scene for the Raiders last year because of injuries and different situations there. But then he started to perform, and he started to perform at a high level. All of his players love him. You saw Max Crosby shouting, like, Detroit, you guys got a dog. What does Amik Robertson do so well, even for a smaller cornerback who likes to play that outside?
Have you seen the film of him playing nickel? It surprised me. I was like, because the first film I watched was later in the year when he was playing a lot of snaps and pretty much exclusively playing outside corner. By the way, I think Carlton Davis III is a left corner historically for the Bucs defense. And last year for the Raiders, Amik Robertson, when they settled him at outside corner, he was a right outside corner. So do with that what you will. I thought his nickel film looked good too. Week 6 or maybe week 4 last year against the Chargers, he played nickel, and I was surprised. I think he's almost what you guys as Lions fans would have wanted C.J. Gardner-Johnson to be, someone who you can slide anywhere.
I've been saying that, and I've been feeling kind of crazy saying it. I'm so glad you did because, one, you're not Lions. People think I'm a Lions C.J. G.J. hater because him and I had a little bit of a spat last year. But, like, no, I think we're not going to miss that because Amik brings that same energy. I'm sorry. It's got me excited. I'm happy someone else said it.
No, I feel bad. I feel bad for rambling. You guys show. You interrupt me. Just hit the button.
No, you're
want
good.
To.
I got excited.
He's tough. He's tough, and he definitely, there's a little bit of chirping after the play, but I don't think that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and those guys would have signed him if they thought it was excessive. I think they signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson last year. Mm-hmm. Definitely plays with an edge, if you want to put it that way. And they just signed Amik Robertson, who to me looks like he plays with a similar edge. I think the Lions front office is kind of telling you something in some way. We need someone to do that.
Yeah.
I'd take 11 Amik Robertsons. That's just me and the way that I coached and the way that I've been around the game. I'd take 11 C.J. Gardner-Johnsons too, but I know some of your other listeners maybe don't feel the same way.
No, I agree. We are big fans of that on this show. Me and Easy both talk about all the time. We love the cornerbacks who have that confidence, because when you look at the great cornerbacks of all time, a majority of them are like that. Like Deion wasn't out there just zipping his lip and not saying, he was talking shit to the guy in front of him. So yeah. I love when my cornerbacks have confidence like that and that goldfish mentality that forget about the last play and I'm gonna lock you down on this snap.
I think both of those guys, on some level, I have read some what I would call oversimplifications. Carlton Davis is really good in man, not so good in zone. Amik Robertson is not real great against vertical threats, but he's better and real smart in zone. I think that both of those are oversimplifications. I think that some of that is scheme related. The guy at Tampa Bay at one point in time liked to play a lot of man. So you have a lot of film of Carlton Davis III playing man. Last year he also played a lot of cover 3, at least in the games I watched. And I thought Carlton Davis III did a pretty good job of that, except for one touchdown he gave up on a wheel route that may or may not have been his fault. I think both of those guys are balanced enough that you won't worry about them in man, and they're smart enough and agile enough in zone. I think it's a home run, you guys. I hope you're excited.
No, I am. I absolutely am. I wanted to ask you this too about Amik, because this is one thing I feel so much disrespect for. Maybe I don't feel as crazy actually, because I agree with you. I think Amik's a dog, but like now that see him bounce to the outside cornerback the last half of last season, can he compete with Cam Sutton for that job? Is that something you see him taking over, or you think he's going to hold that nickel spot and maybe move Branch to safety?
Yeah, I think it's always tough to say, like, oh, someone's going to take this guy's spot. That's not what you asked me. But do I think it's possible? Absolutely. I think the guy is a starting caliber corner, outside corner on a very good NFL team. And you guys have – a lot of teams are going to improve in the draft and through free agency. In my opinion, other than the Texans, no one has improved their team more than the Lions. Because even though you haven't addressed the outside – I call it outside linebacker, edge position, other than Davenport, everything else has been addressed that you needed addressed. Yeah, absolutely, to answer your question, number one. And number two, I think that at this point, Brad Holmes is kind of playing a little bit with house money for the draft once he gets the outside linebacker position addressed. Cause I don't know if you guys feel the same way. I feel like that's got to be a serious undertaking. He's got to get someone who can get after the quarterback, and that's coming from someone who is a huge fan of James Houston IV. Nonetheless, I recognize they're going to draft someone at that position, in my opinion. I don't know. You guys agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we got it on a lot of our draft boards too. Before I let you get going, I kind of confessed something to you earlier this week, or actually in the weekend, and I said on the show too, but I think that Aleem McNeil's trajectory can be similar to that of Baltimore Raven Justin Matabuke, with DJ Reader especially playing along next to him. And you kind of confirmed those thoughts. And because, again, I'm a Lions fan, so some people may hear that and take it as an inherent bias, but you are a Baltimore Ravens fan and a guy who studies the film. Am I crazy saying that?
No, you're saying the same things right now that I said to Ravens fans for the last 2 years about Matabuke. I said it in 2021 after watching a game he played against the Vikings, by the way, at home. And I was like, I think I just watched the best defensive tackle game that I've seen, at least in the time that I've been watching film. And that was 2021. That was 2 years ago, over 2 seasons ago, and I guess 3 at this point. And so the words you just said is basically the same thing I said to Ravens fans, and I got some pushback on that, and I've done multiple videos, and they're still out there on my channel for people to go look at, where I said, hey, look, I think Matabuke should get 50 snaps a game, and he's a badass against the run, and he's no fun to play against the pass. The only thing I would counter to that with McNeil is our blitz/stunt schemes kind of freed Matabuke up. Let's just use a number here. Freed him up 8 or 10 more times. And I haven't seen those same stunts used by the Lions as often. So were that to kind of happen some more, you're going to get some organic wins with a guy as talented as McNeil, right?
Yeah.
But having a couple of wins a game, maybe just one a game, created for you to get you, 10, 12, 14 more opportunities to get to the quarterback. That would be the only thing. I'm not saying the scheme is deficient. I'm just saying I haven't seen it as often with Detroit as we did this past year with the Ravens, which was, batshit crazy. I think we ended up with, 60 sacks?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yes, I absolutely see the trajectory, number one. Number two, the only thing I would say is for him to get to 12, 13 sacks, I think you're probably looking at 3 or 4 that have got to be created maybe by opportunities that have got to be created by scheme. And because some of that was how Matabuke got to that number too. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
And Coach, before we let you go, I do just want to ask you one more thing about DJ Reader, because you guys were seeing him twice a year when he was in Cincinnati. What is his role going to be at helping open up Aiden Hutchinson on that? Because you look at like a guy like Vita Vea with Kalaja Cansey and how he draws a double team. I feel like DJ Reader played a big factor in Trey Hendrickson going out there and getting 17.5 sacks last year. Is that going to help Aiden Hutchinson kind of unlock that next level? Because we saw him have all the pressures last year, but he didn't pull down too many sacks in the regular season.
Yeah, you had a 6-week stretch where Hutchinson didn't have a sack, right? Maybe week 9 to 16, somewhere in there, or maybe it was 8 to 15. I don't know exactly what it was off the top of my head, but there was a stretch there where I was concerned. I don't know about you guys. In terms of Reader, let's just do it from a flat opportunity standpoint. There's going to be more 2nd and 8s because the first down run's only going to get 2 yards. Yeah. So just from a sheer numbers or data standpoint, there's going to be more 2nd and 8s, and there's going to be more 3rd and 6s because DJ Reader. Look, you guys are already really good at stopping the run. I totally disagree with people who say, oh, the numbers against the run look better because teams chose to pass more often. Forgive me if you guys have said that. I don't listen to your show. I don't get the opportunity to. But that's not true. The run game was normally shut down, I would say, mid to late second quarter, maybe third quarter, such that teams became more one-dimensional. Of course, the Lions' offense plays a role there too, getting the lead, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion, I would say that now the run game is going to be shut down 2 possessions earlier, such that there'll be more opportunities to rush the passer because teams will be throwing more often because they'll recognize we can't run the ball there, period.
Coach, man, I appreciate taking the time. I'm going to allow you to get back to your family. I appreciate you calling in. If you ever want to call in again and you got any one of your videos coming up and you want to hype it up or promote it, please reach out. I'd love to speak to you again. And everyone, make sure you subscribe to All 22 Film on YouTube.
It's amazing stuff. Coach, appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I'm sorry that it took so long to make this happen. You had asked me numerous times. So, thank you again for following up and asking me enough times that I finally was able to make it happen.
No problem, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Anything you want to shout real quick before we let you go? Any videos you got coming up or any other, social media handles you want to throw out there?
I actually really love this time of year because I get to do like scenario mock draft stuff, and some people don't prefer that. I get to be a little more creative, and when you try to be creative, sometimes you hit a home run and sometimes you strike out. But it's actually fun to me to try to predict what people are going to do. Unfortunately, a guy like Brad Holmes makes that really difficult because now he can turn right, he can turn left, he can stop the car and go in reverse. Like you said, he can do whatever he wants in this draft. So it's going to be a lot of fun. The first round is going to be a lot of fun. I hope he don't trade back, guys, because I want to see him make a pick in round 1.
Me too.
I do too.
Me too. Appreciate you, Coach.
Appreciate you, Coach. Thanks for joining us, man.
All right, guys. Have a good one, man.
You too.
Yes, sir. All right.
All 22. If you guys haven't watched All 22, you got to watch All 22. It is the best way to, watch football. You get to see everybody, what everybody's doing on every single play. You can hone in on guys. I would do that last year with Penei Sewell because I'm gross and I love watching offensive line play, especially what the Lions do offensive line wise.
Penei Sewell.
And just watching Penei Sewell every single snap and seeing what he does and how many people he contacts and move around on All 22. It's amazing. And Coach has such great breakdowns, especially when it comes to Lions players. He's turning into a Lions fan himself. He said it. So
and again, for the people that don't have the extreme understanding of All 22, that's how you start.
Yeah.
You'll go to his channel and you'll learn some of the nuances you're not usually looking for because you're watching the ball when you watch the games. Great breakdowns.
Great breakdowns.